We will start. If you don't mind, of course. Good morning, all participants of our Ukraine-Egyptian meeting. And unfortunately, now we are waiting our president of Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Gennady Chizhikov. I would like to introduce our honored guests and our speakers of our meeting. Firstly, my colleague, Ambassador of Arabian Republic in Ukraine, Mr. Hassan Eldin Ali. Representative of our Ukrainian embassy in Cairo, Mr. Ruslan Nechai, Economic Counselor. Co-chairmen of our Ukrainian-Egyptian business councils, Mr. Sergei Marusenko, are with us? My pleasure. And Mr. Mohammed Youssef. Mr. Mohammed, are you with us? Well, okay, wait a few minutes.
Excuse me. Can you allow Mr. Mohammed Youssef to enter, please? He's waiting in the waiting room. Someone has to allow him from the hosts. Thank you.
One minute, colleague.
Хтось додав надто очікування. Він може перепідключитися? А він може...
Dalia, could you please ask Mr. Mohammed Youssef to reload again, please, to reconnect one more time? Because, yeah, just to enter again to this Zoom conference.
Okay.
To resume. Thank you.
Okay, and now I would like to introduce our speakers. Mr. Taras Kachka, are you with us? Our Deputy Minister of Economic Development and Trade and Agriculture and official Ukrainian trade representatives.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, sure. Hello.
Sure. So that welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Mr. Mikhail Shumilin, Deputy Head of Healthcare Pharmacy Committee of Ukrainian CCI. Okay. Mr. Vasil Kut, CEO, Expert Manager of Farming Enterprise and member of Association Ukrsathprom. Mrs. Hanna Lavrenyuk.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, Ms. Hanna Lavrenyuk, Vice President, Association of Milk Producers of Ukraine. Mrs. Olga Shevchenko, temporary acting Head of State Service of Ukraine on food safety and consumer protection. Wait. Mr. Evgen Kozik, who is here, Director General Ukraine National Corporation, Vashmash Impex. Mr. Andriy Litvin.
Good morning.
Morning. Mr. Andriy Litvin, Business Opportunities Department Head, Export Promotion Office of Ukraine. And Mr. Gamal Saad El Agouzi. Our colleagues.
Morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. This is here. So I would like to invite Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, for the opening speech for our participants. Please, Your Excellency.
Good morning, everybody. I wish to begin by thanking the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry for this very helpful project, and before that for their leadership and sponsorship of promotion of cooperation in the field of trade between the Arab Republic of Egypt and Ukraine. I want to welcome all the participants we have this morning. Indeed, I remember the last similar event we had was an actual event. I think we had it in December 2018. We had ever since had many opportunities of addressing the dimension of cooperation in trade exchange on a bilateral level in different occasions. Maybe COVID-19 has forced us now to go online, but I think from where we stand in the embassy, we observe on a daily basis this very clear interest on both ends to advance both the quality and the quantity of the trade exchange. We see growing interest on importers in Egypt and exporters as well, and likewise on the Ukrainian side. My observations and those of others following this very important activity within our bilateral cooperation would immediately identify trade as one of the pillars of visible success between our two countries. Last year we had an expanding balance of exchange reaching $2.6 billion, which again strengthens and solidifies the status of Egypt as the top partner with Ukraine in trade in Africa and the Middle East at large. We've also observed some difference in percentages. Exports from Ukraine have witnessed some reduction in volume, but some expansion into new commodities and services. On the Egyptian side, we see some expansion of the portion of exports from Egypt, which I think is a very good contribution also to this balance of trade. I want to maybe underline a very important element. I want to welcome Mr. Kozik with us here, which is the element of cooperation in joint ventures and most importantly in technology transfer. We think that this is an extremely important field that is the next stage of partnership, and it's an element that builds very strong interdependence and very deep cooperation. That will be another very important element in advancing our bilateral relations. Thank you all, and I wish you best of luck, and we'll follow keenly contribution of each of our experienced and very important speakers we have today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And now I would like to speak of the economic counselor of Ukrainian embassy in here, Mr. Ruslan Nechai. Mr. Ruslan, few words. Switch on your microphone. Вимкніть, будь ласка, ваш мікрофон, Руслане. Ми бачимо, що ваш мікрофон вимкнутий. О, it's all right.
Зараз працює?
Супер. Все нормально.
First of all, I would like to welcome all the participants of our meeting and express my sincere gratitude to the organizer of this online meeting for the opportunity to address the representatives of the governmental authorities as well as the business communities of Ukraine and Egypt, having a chance to exchange our visions and ideas. Everybody knows, and it already was mentioned, that Egypt is one of our priority trading partners in the Middle East and North Africa region, with the largest positive trade balance in the world. The dynamics of the bilateral trade growth is rather positive. In 2019, it was plus 43%. As for Ukrainian export in goods, it witnessed 44 and 8 growth in 2019. The total volume in goods and services exceeded 2.6 billion US dollars. But frankly speaking, I don't want to bore you with statistics, indicators, and numbers of trade turnover. I just would like to emphasize that we are keen to transit from simple trade to more complicated forms of economic cooperation. The implementation of joint projects, including ones that need state support, intensification of investment cooperation, creation of joint ventures, and organization of production in Egypt. I am pleased to note among our achievements that it is exactly in Egypt that Naftogaz Group is implementing the largest investment project abroad. Ukrainian trams are well known in Alexandria, and we hope for new orders to upgrade the rolling stock and reconstruction of Ramle line in Alexandria. Ukrainian companies are going to participate in iron ore beneficiation project in Egypt. In the light of above mentioned, it is very important to organize regular visits and meetings, either political or economic, participate in specialized exhibition, advertise product, and open representative office, etc. In this regard, I cannot help but note the work of the Ukrainian-Egyptian Business Council. I would like to share my vision that it should be joint work of Ukrainian and Egyptian sides for the distribution of information on export and investment opportunities, as well as the needs of potential business partners. Using such tools as modern technologies for the exchange and transmission of data, holding exhibitions and business missions, organizing introductory tours and presentations, we can significantly contribute to the intensification of cooperation and serve expansion of contacts between business circles of our countries. At the end of my speech, I would like to express my confidence that in significant prospects for cooperation between Ukraine and Egypt, which will be facilitated by our today's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chancellor. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite to speak Mr. Mohammed Youssef, Executive Director of Egyptian Businessmen's Association. Mr. Mohammed, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
See you. Yes,
Thanks for the invitation. First of all, I would like to pay my apology for being late. I was waiting outside for the host to open, and it seems that I used a wrong link, something like that. But finally, I succeeded to join. First of all, let me thank you for such a very important event and for the invitation. I would like to welcome you all. I would like to welcome His Excellency, Ambassador Hussam Eddin Ali, for being with us today. Thank you, Ambassador. I would like to also welcome my colleagues, my friends, Mr. Murzenko, Mr. Roslan. It's nice to see you again, and looking forward to reactivate again our cooperation together. I'm Mohammed Youssef. I'm the Executive Director of the Egyptian Businessmen Association. We are in a very good relation with the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, for more than 15 years. We have a very good cooperation together in the past, and we need to revive again such cooperation. I believe our today's meeting could be a very good springboard during in such a very strange and very tough period that the world is passing through those days. We all know that the pandemic that we had those days are going to change the structure of the economy by all means all over the world. In such challenges, there is always opportunities, I believe. And through our two organizations, we can build on these opportunities, and we can check in which area that we can cooperate together and build on, and encourage the business people on both sides to start cooperate together in such areas. Yes, I believe in information technology, in industry, in healthcare, there's a lot of things that we need to pay attention for those days. We as EBA, we have the top business leader in Egyptian economy under our umbrella. And we have several committees like Industrial Committee, like Information Technology Committee. And I believe through this committee, we can work together to enhance and improve our cooperation in this part. I think that the structures of the economy as they are going to change, it's a good opportunity for us to find a way. The economic power definitely will be changed. Things of a lot of things that happened in those days, the huge opportunities in different areas had been shown. The African continent is one of the areas that I believe there's a lot of things, a lot of resources that we can cooperate together in a multilateral cooperation to benefit from. Let's think seriously in the coming few months to pinpoint certain sectors that we can cooperate together with, and let's work on it, and let's find and let's you get used from the opportunities and the potential for each part of us have. We as EBA, we have a very strong network in African countries. We are a member of COMESA Business Council as EBA, as an organization. Through our membership in this organization, we can support Ukrainian business people to go together with Egyptian business people to Africa. Definitely also, we can do the same with Ukrainian side by way or another. I believe it's time to strengthen more and more our economic relation. We should rely a lot on the business council, and we need to give them the full support. I believe that Engineer Gamal Egezi is with us today, and he's going to deliver a speech about the role of the business council and in which sector. And he is trying to pay a lot of effort, I know, in that. And we need to support all effort for the business council in both sides. We as two umbrella have all the ability to support those people. We have a very good connection with governments in both sides. Let's work on that. And I believe business council could play a very important role in the coming few periods. Thanks a lot. I don't want to take more time. I want to give the chance if there is any question and answer regarding the Egyptian economy and what's going on, or the role of EBA. And I'm really happy. Thanks for giving us this opportunity, and I really appreciate the effort of the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry for hosting this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director, for your practical proposals. And now we'll be very interested to know the position of our Ministry of Economy, of course. And now I would like to speak Deputy Minister for Economy, Trade, and Agriculture, our trade representative, Mr. Taras Kachka. Mr. Taras.
Hello. Nice to see you. Welcome.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah. So that thank you for colleagues for your statements. I think that I have not so much to add in addition to all the projects we have and trading volumes. And I think that I would like only to summarize and hint our priorities on cooperation between Ukraine and Egypt. I think that first of all, for us, Egypt is a core partner in, let's say, in two dimensions, in Africa in general and in North Africa in particular. And we have strong interest to develop cooperation not only in terms of greater participation of Ukrainian companies and Egyptian companies in Ukraine and Egypt and their mutual cooperation. I think that When I was in Cairo in last fall, it was quite illustrative that what we can do and what are the ambitions, and they are really high and big. This year, I think that for us, the key priority would be to initiate and then negotiate preferential agreement between Ukraine and Egypt. I think that in the light of developments in our bilateral trade, it is important to ensure that we will reduce the tariffs on products of mutual interest for both sides in order to intensify our bilateral trade and also regional representation, because I think that for us, the Mediterranean region is extremely interesting, not only for bilateral trade, but for multilateral trade as well. So, and as well, I think that we need to think, and it was always highlighted by the Egyptian officials, that we have a potential of cooperation on the, let's say, greater scale with a neighboring state and the region in general. I'm talking about Africa. So therefore, I think that in addition to what was said already, I think that for us, it's obvious that Egypt is a really important partner. We want to resume our, let's say, normal trade activities in terms of visits to Cairo and Kiev and business contacts as well, and implement a lot of other projects. So for me, the cooperation with Egypt is really of high importance and one of top priorities for the ministry and myself personally. So I hope that our activity and our enthusiasm will be helpful for all business projects which are implemented or going to be implemented by private companies. For us, it is always welcome, and we would be happy to help anyone in supporting their projects in Egypt or in Ukraine. So this is really small intervention from my part, but it is based on what was said previously, and I confirm that indeed this is really a priority for our trade policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Minister. Traditionally, your very interesting information and your interesting opinion about the perspectives of our bilateral Ukraine-Egyptian cooperation. Thank you very much. And now I would like to invite Mr. Sergey Marusenko, co-chairman of our Ukrainian side of Ukrainian-Egyptian Business Council. Please, Mr. Sergey.
Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, it's my pleasure to participate today at online meeting of Ukrainian-Egyptian cooperation. Just few words about development of relationship between Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Egyptian business circles. The first agreement was signed in 1994 between Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Egyptian Chamber of Commerce. In 2004, Ukrainian delegation visited EBA office and started the cooperation. It's my pleasure to greet Mr. Mohammed Youssef, who is participating today at our meeting and who warmly welcomed us in Egypt. In December 2006, during the visit of EBA delegation, was signed the agreement for creation of our business council. The main target of the council activity is to search for new opportunities, assist in expansion and strengthening of the business ties between the companies of Ukraine and Egypt. I would like to say what perspectives do we have for today. There are two main directions for cooperation with promising potential which is still not discovered. If we put aside the traditional export-import operation, we can sign out the following directions. The first, I think, very important direction is scientific and technical cooperation. We have contacted our experts, our scientists, our scientific institutes, and they offer to concentrate on the following fields of cooperation. Pharmaceutical industry. We know that Egypt is the main player on pharma market in Africa and Middle East. Ukrainian pharma industry is developing, and we have a lot of opportunities to cooperate. The next point is joint project in medical field and medical tourism. As an example, we know that Egypt reached significant results in hepatitis C treatment, and Ukraine is traditionally very strong in cardiology issues. So it is only one example, but jointly we can discover much more projects for cooperation in medical sphere. Implementation of energy saving projects with alternative and renewable energy sources. Agricultural projects, agricultural goods processing and new technology implementation. Infrastructural projects, engineering and road building, design, development, construction of airports, electric power station, etc. Very important issue is ecological projects, water waste purification, soils recreation, water supply. Scientific tourism, experience exchange in scientific fields, innovation and inventions, creation of mutual scientific and research institutes. And besides, traditionally, Ukraine always welcomes Egyptian students at its universities. The second, I think, very important directions with huge potential is joint participation in the international tenders. Ukrainian companies have all opportunities to cooperate with Egyptian organizations to enter the markets of Africa and Middle East. Taking this opportunity, we offer to pay attention to scientific and technical cooperation and arrange the following meetings in the nearest future. First one, to organize online meeting, some type of conference between chief specialists, experts of our countries in the field of scientific experience exchange. After that, we can arrange online exhibition or some type of fair for innovative technologies and inventions. And within a year, arrange a business forum with leading specialists in the field of science and technologies and exhibition of new technologies. It is a big request to Ukrainian embassy in Cairo and to my colleague, Mr. Gamal, to assist in making contact with Egyptian Academy of Science, ministers, state authorities who are responsible for scientific work and development. So I guess it will be a big step for new stage of our successful business. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Marusenko. And now I would like to invite for speech Mr. Mikhail Shumilin, Deputy Head of Healthcare and Pharmacy Committee of Ukraine Chamber of Commerce. Please, Mikhail.
Good afternoon to all participants of the event. Thank you, Mr. Karol, for invitation, and Healthcare and Pharmacy Committee of Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Highly appreciate to be here. Healthcare and Pharmacy Committee is a union of very active companies in Ukrainian field of healthcare and pharmacy, which is working in the field of Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, and we appreciate this great platform. What I can say, Ukrainian healthcare segment industry is rather developed, and Ukraine, as for example, Ukrainian pharmaceutical industry gets its heritage for former Soviet Union, and the share of 45% has been taken from the general Soviet Union pharmaceutical industry. As well, a big number of medical universities and other healthcare educational entities is well developed in Ukraine. Ukrainian pharmaceutical market is evaluated on the level of 14 year of $3.5 billion, and it survived several challenges during last 20 years, but Ukrainian pharmaceutical market and industry is very stable and resistant to all challenges. As well, we have a well-developed healthcare system which is developing, and as Ukraine is in coordination and cooperation of European Union, we are looking in the future with enthusiasm. Is that Ukraine is a member of PICS pharmaceutical inspection and cooperation scheme that allows Ukraine to be on the level of highest level standards of pharmaceutical manufacturing, and it of course affects to the registration and of drugs in Ukraine and entering these drugs to the market. But Ukraine has a very lucrative market. I told you that it's on the level of $3.5 billion, with a number of pharmacies of around 17,000, and well-developed of pharmaceutical logistics and pharmaceutical trade. As well, we have up to 50 active pharmaceutical manufacturing companies, which top 10 of them has a big sales of volume, at top 10 of them providing the export in the number of world countries. Therefore, we appreciate our partners from Egypt interest in the cooperation in healthcare and pharmaceutical field, and our committee will be pleased to support and to assist initiatives in that field. Therefore, we are pleased to be here and would, with pleasure, would continue our communication and our dialogue in the field of mutually profitable business. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shumilin. And now I would like to invite Mr. Vasil Kuz, export manager of GATS Farming Enterprise and member of Association Торгово-промислова. Mr. Vasil.
Good afternoon, the colleagues and representatives of the Ukrainian and Egyptian governments. Glad to see everyone. I want to thank you for organization and conduction this meeting, and I hope that will be successful for both countries. I represent one of the largest apples producer in Ukraine. It's Farm GATS, an active member of the Торгово-промислова Association. We have experience of exporting to more than 20 countries, and we are constantly expanding our export potential. Every year we grow and sell 25,000 tons of apples of a lot of varieties. Also, I want to say total produce in Ukraine is 600,000 tons per year. On the square, it's 36,000 hectares. From these numbers, we export 400 tons of apples. For Ukraine, the Egyptian markets is extremely promising because the Egyptian markets is a key of the gateway to Africa. I think so. Undoubtedly, our products are high quality, and the quality of our apples is highly appreciated in the world, so we can compete with the apples from the Poland and from the Italy. Today, citrus from the Egypt enter to Ukraine without import duties and are sold freely without any additional cost on our market. That's why we ask at the interstate level to negotiate the abolition of the import duties on the apples from Ukraine. We are sure the Egyptians will like our Ukrainian apples. So what we must do to open the markets, we need to see the cooperation agreement, abolition of the import duty, coordination of the phytosanitary protocol. What the benefits of when we open this market? The price of the logistic will decrease as the goods from the Egypt coming to Ukraine with the fresh fruits and return with the Ukrainian apples, so we can get the cheaper price for the logistic. Competition between apple producer will increase the quality and reduce the price of the apples between apples producer. Our trade between our countries will increase. So I hope our meeting will bring profit and success to our countries. Thank you for attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Cruz.
you.
Dear colleagues, President of Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Gennady Chizhikov, joined us, and I would like to ask him to say a few words about the position of Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the bilateral cooperation between Ukraine and Egypt. Please, Mr. President.
Good morning. I very appreciate what you find and found the time to take part in this online meeting. For me, it's a big pleasure to take part and to say what we see is, despite the coronavirus situation, Ukrainian-Egyptian relations have a very good dynamic, and we will have a lot of opportunities. I absolutely know that a lot of my colleagues during this online meeting said what Egypt is very important partner for Ukraine in Africa, and also in the Middle East region. And we know about this, and like a Chamber of Commerce, we would like to pay more and more attention to developing of this relation. From one side, we very much appreciated the visit of His Excellency Minister of Tourism, Mr. Khaled El Anani, who visited our country a couple of days ago. It was one of the most important visits for a couple last years. This visit demonstrated a big interest from the above side. Tourism is one of the most priorities for Egypt from our side, for Ukraine, especially in this situation. It's what Egypt opens the door for Ukraine for tourism is a very symbolic sign. What Ukraine is also very important for Egypt as well. From like a Chamber of Commerce, I would like to say a couple of words. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much our colleagues from embassies, my colleague Hassan Al-Din Ali and our Ukrainian ambassador, Mr. Yevgen Nikitenko, for your very important work and very important support of businesses of our country and Ukrainian business. For me, it's very important, of course, as well. I see also what my colleague from the Egypt Businessmen Association took part, Mr. Mohammed Youssef, and for us it's very important to have direct connection, direct contact with our partner in country. From our side, we would like in the nearest future to make stronger our business council, to develop in our relation on the base of the business council from our side. We very hope after the finishing of the coronavirus period, we would like to invite our partner from Egypt and Ukraine, and we are ready to do our best. And from our side, we are also would like to visit Egypt. For us, priorities, first of all, agriculture sector, food processing sector, tourism, and machine building, energy sector, where we will pay more and more attention to this direction. Thank you very much, everybody who take part in this meeting, and I would like to say that Chamber of Commerce, Ukraine Chamber of Commerce, is always will stay like very reliable partner for Egyptian and Ukrainian businesses in our cooperation. Thank you very much for your time, and we will move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And now I would like to invite for a few words Mrs. Hanna Lavrenyuk, Vice President of Association of Milk Producers of Ukraine. Please, Mrs. Lavrenyuk.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm not alone today at this meeting. Together with me is my colleague, Alexander Taranyuk, who is the coordinator of a special project of Association of Milk Producers, Group Sales of Cattle. And a few more words about Association of Milk Producers and possible cooperation that we expect for and that we have already experienced in with some other countries. Association of Milk Producers was established in 2009, and today it unites more than 150 dairy farms all over Ukraine, ranging in cattle cow herd size from 80 cows to more than 1,500 cows. The average size of our average member farm is about 400 cows. And together they raise more than 20% of all industrial cows in Ukraine and produce more than 20% of all commercial so-called industrial milk. Association of Milk Producers has its own analytical center, its own consultancy center for veterinary and technological and other help for our farms, which is one of the biggest in Europe. Also, it has its own milk quality laboratory to help our farmers to achieve the best quality and safety parameters of milk produced and also of beef produced by them. And besides, Association of Milk Producers is the organizer of one of the biggest in Europe dairy conferences, which is called International Dairy Conference, and has its own educational and extension platform for education of existing and future staff of dairy farms. Actually, we are interested in promoting cooperation with Egyptian side in all these aspects. If to talk about traditional trade, actually, among main tasks of Association of Producers to its member farms is the development and research for reserves of profitability, and among such reserves, there is the cooperative sales of cattle and also export of cattle. Thanks to cooperation with FAO in 2016-17, we have started the experience of the USA in feeding and fattening of bulls of dairy breeds to receive good conditions, slaughter conditions and high carcass yield with these dairy breeds. And also thanks to cooperation with USDA fund, we have established a fattening platform, feedlot, that helps our farmers to cooperatively gather cows and raise them according to the best technologies and diets to receive good quality and good standards of beef. And since 2017, we are successfully developing the cooperation with some international countries in exports of live weight cattle, heifers, open heifers, and also bulls for slaughter and fattening. Quite successful we are with Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and Lebanon already. Since 2017, we are exporting on average about 30,000 heads of bulls to those countries. And also we are quite successful in exporting heifers, which are produced and raised by our best dairy farms. And of course, we are quite interested in the possibility to enlarge or extend our export opportunities to Egypt also. As an Association of Meat Producers, we help our farmers with technologies, diets, consultancy support to ensure best quality, the most uniform batches of cattle, and are ready to export in big batches with livestock carriers by sea. And actually, if to tell about our experience already in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Lebanon, we are exporting heifers, for example, to top 5 dairy producers of those countries. In Kazakhstan, it's quite a well-known dairy farm Adal. In Uzbekistan, it's quite a well-known farm which is called ProMeat and Master of Delicacies. And if to talk about factors that would help, from our opinion, to
Пані Ганно, ми вас вже не бачимо і не чуємо.
Is of the development of this direction.
Ви нас чуєте, пані Ганно?
Ждите слово, и все записывают. Ты потом, если что, подсоединяться позже скажешь.
Okay. Okay, dear colleagues, we have some technical problem here. Now, I would like to invite for the speech of Mrs. Olga Shevchenko, temporary acting head of State Service of Ukraine on food safety and consumer. Yes?
Dear colleagues, Your Excellency, everyone who present in this online meeting, you're welcomes. What can I say about the relations between Ukraine and Egypt as a government authority? Frankly speaking, we have a quite good cooperation, fruitful cooperation on the level of state negotiations over the trade in a really big range of different products like beef, grains, poultry, dairy products, and other. The main activity and the main goal of all governmental veteran phytosanitary services in the world is to prevent any introduction of any disease or pests to the country in the international trade. And this is a high priority for both of our countries, and our historical mutual and effective trade says that we as the government works really good in this area. I heard the previous interventions on the interest to trade in different types of products, and we do interest in trade with vegetables and fruits with Egypt, especially for apples, blueberries, cherries, and any other product that will be the mutual interest for our both sides. From the technical point of view, all the necessary support for import or for export in our trade relations on the base of government done in accordance with international standards, which both our countries are following. Any interest to trade with Ukraine, as Egypt is one of our core partners in trade, are very valuable. So we are open for any discussion proposals and any support for Ukrainian and Egyptian business for trade with consultations, considering of different technical issues. As SPS, it's quite specific and quite complicated area, but in any case, as it was already said today, there is importance of trade, and trade must go in both ways. So I do believe that trade with Ukrainian Egyptian companies can become a very good and very comprehensive in the part in the international trade. Thank you.
Colleagues, in our students here in our chamber, Mr. Evgeny Kozik, General Director of Vashmash Imports. I would like to Mr. Kozik to say a few words about our bilateral cooperation, please.
В первую очередь хочу поблагодарить Торгово-промышленную палату Украины, посольство Египта в Украине, Украины в Египте за возможность провести такую серьезную и важную встречу.
First of all, I would like to thank Chamber of Commerce of Ukraine, Embassy of Egypt in Ukraine, and Embassy of Ukraine in Egypt for the possibility to conduct such a serious meeting.
Мы работаем с Египтом давно в сфере тяжелого машиностроения.
We are working with Egypt for a long time in machine building area.
Наше сотрудничество имеет глубокие исторические корни, которые уходят в 70-е годы прошлого столетия.
And our cooperation has a deep historical context since 70 years of the previous century.
Именно тогда были построены металлургические комбинаты и электростанции в Египте силами в те времена Советского Союза, но 80% специалистов были из Украины.
When power stations and metallurgical plants were built in Egypt with 80% of expert manpower from Ukraine.
Сейчас все это оборудование требует модернизации и усовершенствования, естественно, хотя она себя очень хорошо зарекомендовала.
Currently, all this equipment and facilities requires revamping and rehabilitation. In spite of the fact that all these facilities were under satisfactory condition up to now.
Наше сотрудничество в Египте было бы невозможным без мощной государственной поддержки.
And our cooperation with Egypt would not be possible without strong state support.
В первую очередь это поддержка Кабинета министров Украины, Министерства экономики Украины.
First of all, support from the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine and the Ministry of Economy of Ukraine.
Только по вопросам энергетики и металлургии несколько раз заместители министров экономики, и в том числе Тарас Андреевич Качка, были в Каире и обсуждали именно эти вопросы в том числе.
Several times, vice presidents of several ministers, including Ministry of Economy and in particular Mr. Kachka, visited Cairo to develop cooperation between our countries.
Благодаря поддержке его превосходительства посла Египта в Украине и посла Украины в Египте, Украину посетила крупная делегация бизнесменов, работающих в металлургии Египта, и мы смогли показать свои сегодняшние возможности.
Under strong support of His Excellence Ambassador of Egypt in Ukraine and Ukrainian Ambassador in Egypt, visit of Egyptian specialists and officials were organized in Ukraine in order to demonstrate our possibilities and our current facilities in Ukraine.
Очень сильно продвинула проект встреча заместителя министра экономики господина Качки с министром инвестиций и председателем Украинской египетской комиссии по торгово-экономическому сотрудничеству Сахой-Наса.
A meeting of Mr. Kachka and Mrs. Sahar Nasser from Egypt has strongly strengthened relations between Ukrainian and Egyptian parties and developed our relations in a great way.
Все эти факторы по совокупности, включая, естественно, высокий профессионализм украинских машиностроителей, позволил нам выиграть международный тендер и подписать контракт на модернизацию коксовой батареи в Египте.
All these factors, including, of course, great experience and specialization of Ukrainian technical specialists, allowed us to win a tender and sign a contract for rehabilitation of coke facilities in Egypt.
Украинская сторона уже выполнила очень большой объем работы.
Ukrainian side has already implemented a large part of works under this contract.
Полностью завершены проектные работы.
All design works are fully performed already.
Оплачено и уже начато производство оборудования с длительным циклом.
Equipment with a long production cycle has already been paid and put into manufacturing.
И мы продолжаем работать и надеемся, что наша работа даст очень серьезный результат экономики Египта и Украины.
Now we continue our work and we hope that our work will foster and will foster and improve Ukrainian as well as Egyptian industrial potential and possibilities.
К сожалению, несмотря на включение этого проекта в межправительственный протокол, подписание контрактов и массу встреч с египетскими партнерами, пока египетская сторона не открыла финансирование по проекту.
Unfortunately, in spite of all meetings and all signed memorandums and documents between Egyptian and Ukrainian parties, still Egyptian party has not opened financing for this project.
Мы убедительно просим ваше превосходительство, посол Египта в Украине, посодействовать в ускорении этого процесса.
We are kindly asking you, Your Excellency, Ambassador of Egypt in Ukraine, to foster this process.
Недавно, как уже было здесь сказано, здесь в Украине присутствовал министр Египта, министр туризма Египта.
Recently, Minister of Tourism of Egypt visited Ukraine.
Казалось бы, где тяжелое машиностроение, а где туризм?
At first glance, where tourism field and where heavy machine building field in this context.
Но на этом контракте в Египте единовременно будет работать 400 специалистов.
But under this contract in Egypt, simultaneously 400 specialists will be present at Egypt for performance of the work.
Yes. У этих людей есть семьи.
This specialist has families, of course.
Эти люди, естественно, будут иметь отпуска в какое-то время.
And they will take vacations from time to time.
И понятно, что их семьи будут прилетать туда и отдыхать в вашей прекрасной стране.
And naturally, their families will visit Egypt and probably have a rest in your great country in Egypt.
Поэтому все в нашей жизни взаимосвязано.
It means that everything in our lives is interdependent.
Второй проект, о котором ваше превосходительство рассказало, уже затронуло, это проект обогащения руды.
Next project is Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, already mentioned, is a project of iron ore beneficiation.
Много здесь говорилось о том, что надо работать в сфере новых технологий и совместных производств.
A lot of words have been said during our meeting about new technologies and modern industrial processes.
Это именно такой проект, потому что мы создаем совместное предприятие с государственным холдингом металлургических заводов Египта.
This is exactly this project because we are going to make a joint venture with Egyptian party in order to implement this project.
Уже готовы инвестора, которые готовы вкладывать деньги, поскольку это высокорентабельный проект.
We have already found investors which are ready to provide funds for this project because it has a high profitability.
К сожалению, инвесторы пока опасаются, поскольку не видят начала финансирования по предыдущему проекту по коксовой батарее.
Of course, currently these investors have doubts because they still do not see initiation of financing of the current project.
Таким образом, финансирование по коксовой батарее толкнет и проект по обогащению.
In this way, initiation of financing of project for cocoa and batteries will render progress for the next projects for iron ore beneficiation.
В Египте еще есть множество проектов, в которых мы имеем возможность принять участие.
At the same time, in Egypt, there are a lot of potential projects which we may take part.
И мы будем продолжать работать с Египтом, потому что, как все тут сказали, это ворота в Африку.
And of course, we will continue to cooperate with Egypt because, as everyone has already mentioned, Egypt is a gate for all Africa.
Еще раз благодарю Торгово-промышленную палату Украины за поддержку и за возможность реализовывать свои потенциальные силы в различных странах, и в том числе в Каире, в Египте.
One more time, I would like to express my gratitude to Chamber of Commerce of Ukraine for the possibility to participate in projects in Egypt and all other countries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Director. Very interesting information and very positive position about our bilateral cooperation. And now I would like to invite for the speech Mr. Andriy Litvin, Head of Business Opportunity Department of Export Promotion Office. Please, Mr. Andriy.
Good afternoon, dear organizers, distinguished speakers, and distinguished guests. On behalf of the State Institution Export Promotion Office of Ukraine, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to have a word in this online meeting dedicated to Ukrainian-Egyptian trade during global changes, or rather COVID-19 pandemic, which is making its own adjustments to the development of trade and economic relations. The trade turnover between our countries in the first half of this year amounted to just over $1 billion, which is 18.4% less compared to the same drop period last year. The decline in trade began in March, and from this, the declared pandemic can be considered as the main reason. At the moment, the bulk of Ukrainian exports to Egypt are grain crops and ferrous metals. At the same time, the bulk of imports from Egypt are fruits and vegetables. According to the results of a survey of companies which was conducted by Export Promotion Office in December 2019, and in which we interviewed more than 400 Ukrainian companies, Egypt is interesting for export to representatives of the next sectors. It's machinery sector, pharmaceutical sector, chemical sector, as well as food and agriculture. As part of the survey, companies indicated that they would like to establish business relationships with counterparts in Egypt by participating in trade missions and also international exhibitions. An example of such exhibition which was mentioned by Ukrainian companies is the Cairo International Fair, which will take place in 2021, and also one more exhibition, Africa Food Manufacturing, which is scheduled for October 2020. But due to the limited logistic capabilities and fear of people from business circles to hold business meetings and provide negotiations, today we are considering various possibilities for organizing online events, and we'll also be glad to participate in those. As everyone said, Egypt is an important partner for Ukraine and is on the list of countries in focus for trade development. Unfortunately, in this stage, we primarily trade in raw materials and not in value-added products. Specifically, the EPO's task is to help Ukrainian exporters, namely manufacturers of processed products, in finding sales channels abroad, as well as assist to foreign contractors in finding reliable suppliers of products from Ukraine. The Export Promotion Office has its own sourcing platform, which I'd like to mention, and the task of this platform is to help foreign counterparts find reliable suppliers from Ukraine. On our website, epo.org.ua, any foreign importer can register and leave a detailed request to search for Ukrainian manufacturers of a specific product. After that, our expert will prepare a long list of verified Ukrainian companies and provide it to the potential partner. After that, the potential partner should do is to choose a few Ukrainian companies he or she would like to contact. The main task of the platform is to bring together two companies, Ukrainian and foreign company, for the future establishment of a contact, signing a contract, and starting supplies. That's all from my side. Once again, I would like to thank all the speakers and organizers for the opportunity to speak at this online meeting. We also hope for further fruitful cooperation and development of bilateral economic and trade relationships. I wish everyone to stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Andrea. And I would like to ask, Mr. Abuzi, are you with us? No? Unfortunately. Okay. And now I would like to invite Mrs. Antonina Skляrenko, Chairman of the Board, President of Community of Pulses Producers and Customers of Ukraine. Ms. Antonina, are you here? Okay. Yes, please, your words.
Yeah, hello to everybody. One moment, like this. It's very important also to add our association in this meeting because every year we export in pulses to Egypt, especially chickpeas, lentils. Usually it's green lentils, and we also start to grow in green moon beans, and our farmers want to supply to Egypt because they asking and they give a good price. And if Mr. Ambassador, if Mr. Mohammed Youssef, Executive Director of Egyptian Businessmen Association, can help us in this case to communicate our companies with some buyers from Egypt side, it will be very interesting because this year our volumes a little bit decrease for lentils, and if we will have good buyers, I think it will be more motivate to grow our farmers lentils and more pulses in Ukraine.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Skляrenko. And now I would like to invite Ms. Irina Zaychuk, Export Manager of Pharmaceutical Companies Group Lekhim. Ms. Irina.
Hello to everyone.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much for Chamber of Commerce of Ukraine and of Egypt for such a brilliant possibility to participate in this conference, in this meeting. Egypt is a few words about our company. Lekhim GSC was founded in 1992 as a Ukrainian manufacturer of pharmaceutical products. And we have almost 30 years history. Now, the group of pharmaceutical companies consists of two operating plants. One is situated in Kharkiv. It is Lekhim Kharkiv, and another one is located in Uman. It's a technology plant. And another manufacturing site is on its final stage of construction. It's near Kyiv, and we expect to run it maybe, hopefully, in the end of 2021. So we are manufacturing a very wide range of pharmaceutical products in different therapeutical groups, such as cardiology, urology, gynecology, oncology, and so on. And of course, we are taking one of the leading places among the Ukrainian local manufacturers of pharmaceutical products. And as well, we are exporting our goods to CIS countries and to some countries abroad. And of course, we are interested in extending our market. And Egypt is a very interesting country for us. First of all, because its pharma industry is also very strong. And, but we would like to extend our market and to try to export our goods to this country. And of course, as it was said that Egypt is the gate to another African countries. And of course, we are very interested in this continent also. So it would be great if we can collaborate in this field. Hello? And of course, I would like to know if there is an interest in Ukrainian medicines in Egypt, and if Ukrainian medicines are presented in Egyptian market, pharmaceutical market.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Irina. Mr. Gazi, I'm very glad for your planning. Now I would like to invite for speech Mr. Gamal Saad El Abouzi, chairman of Egyptian part of our bilateral Egyptian-Ukrainian Business Council. Please, Mr. Abouzi. Thank you very much once more.
Thank you. Dear Ambassador Hossam Ali, dear esteemed hosts, participants, and guests, I would like to thank you for inviting me to attend this event. And first of all, I would like to thank the Ukrainian people for resuming their travel to the Egyptian holiday destinations. And I take this opportunity to confirm the directions that my colleague, Mr. Marozenko, had pointed out previously, as they are very important. And in fact, back in January 2020 at EBA, we were preparing for a delegation to visit Ukraine in April. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 canceled this event, to visit the Academy of Science in cooperation with the Chamber of Commerce of Ukraine, to develop the sectors that were explained by Mr. Marozenko. I just want to add two more sectors of possible cooperation, which are the space technology and the logistic service at the Suez Canal Economic Zone in Egypt. And this is a very promising area of cooperation. And at the end, I would like to urge all the authorities in Egypt and Ukraine to issue the necessary legislations to encourage the previously mentioned sectors of activity. And I wish the relation between our two countries to become stronger and better, as we expect from the two sides. Thank you very much.
Of our meeting, I see our colleagues from the Kherson Chamber of Commerce and Industry have some questions. Please, we came to switch on. Kherson Chamber, are you here? No. Unfortunately. Okay, colleagues. So, I would like to many thanks all participants of this our now today's meeting. And in conclusion, I think maybe our guests and colleagues, ambassador of Egypt in Ukraine, can give a few words. Did you have something?
This is
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I think I want to very sincerely thank everybody for very valuable contributions we received today. So I think we have arrived at this point with a wealth of ideas, perspectives, and very strong views on how we can promote and further advance bilateral cooperation in the field of trade. I want to particularly highlight the ideas put forward also by Mr. Kozik to underline very much this partnership. A fact of the day is that Egypt, and we often don't, or we often overlook this fact while discussing bilateral trade. Egypt is witnessing a revolutionary rebuild, massive new projects, massive infrastructure, new roads, new industries. There's a huge transformation to a country that no doubt will become a giant in the region on every level. It is very important to secure this role of partnership with Ukraine in that area. As Mr. Kozik mentioned, for example, boosting this industrial potential is one area where Ukraine can be a partner as we advance in this developmental phase happening in Egypt. I also want to underline very much this new area where we can explore entry of new products of Ukraine in the market in Egypt, such as pharmaceuticals, as mentioned. But perhaps we also need to look at joint ventures where such introduction would also reflect further knowledge exchange and further advancement of technologies involved. Mentioned here also this areas of in dairy products, on seeds, on poultry, on meat. I think the potential is huge. I want to thank everybody for leaving us with this good range of thoughts and ideas on the way forward. This meeting has been extremely helpful with your contributions. I want to again use this opportunity to thank very much the Iranian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I want to thank every one of you for finding the time and the effort and for the preparation to feed in such helpful ideas. I very much recommend that we continue this practice and build further. I would advise the Chamber of Commerce to summarize key ideas that put forward today. And we know then the point of departure for next time, and we can select particular lines where we need to further have specific exchanges and build further. I also want to thank particularly the trade representative of Ukraine for his very positive role pushing forward this cooperation, Mr. Kashfer, and particularly also my very good friend and colleague Gennady Shishikov for his championship of this exercise. And of course, my good friend, Mr. Gamal Hagezi, Egypt, and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you. Thank you all participants, speakers, and honorary guests of our meeting. So we will bit more. We'll inform you about our next plans and programs. Would like to many thanks, all of us, and you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.